So the general consensus with this TWAB is that Warlock and Titan are getting completely shit on while Hunter isn't. While I agree that the Warlock and Titan nerfs are more severe, I do think that the Hunter is getting nerfed harder than people are willing to admit. The one thing I'll say about the Warlock and Titan nerfs is, given that what they're aiming for is to have abilities be less impactful and lethal, I hope they plan to readjust things like the Iron Banner weekly for ability kills to compensate. As for the Hunter nerfs, I think the Gambler's Dodge nerf is going to be huge in PvE content. It's stated that PvP is the intention, but there's no indication that it'll be exclusive to PvP. I tried to replicate what it would feel like by adjusting my mobility to get as close to that 18-second cooldown as I could, but once you throw your smoke bomb and get that Heart of the Pack buff, your mobility goes right back up. And educated guess here, but the stat increases from Heart of the Pack won't increase any stat past 100, so it's going to be difficult to know how exactly the nerf will feel until it actually happens. That being said, I can certainly see this change being a graveyard for Void Hunters in GM, especially in solo, and the death of some exotics as well. Graviton Forfeit increases the time you spend invisible from 6 seconds to 11 seconds, and I know that 11 seconds still sounds pretty generous next to an 18-second cooldown, but let me elaborate. In your average scenario, you aren't going to be throwing your smoke bomb next to an enemy. You're going to throw it in cover, seek out an enemy to dodge next to, get your melee back, and rotate back to cover. The longer it takes you to get that dodge in, the more time you're going to be forced to spend out of invis. In some cases, this isn't that bad, but in Grandmaster, this is potentially very costly. Let's take the tank room in Proving Grounds as an example, easily one of the most difficult encounters in the current GM rotation. Sometimes it can take 4 or 5 seconds to get close enough to an enemy to dodge next to, leaving you exposed for a solid 12 to 13 seconds at the end of your invis if you're running Graviton. And on paper, again, that doesn't seem like much, but I think anyone who's put time into Void Hunter and GM will agree it's borderline catastrophic. After the nerf, in scenarios like the tank room, when you come out of invis, barrier champion has line of sight on your cover, dead. Several mobs back there that you didn't see until you were too close to do anything else, dead. Tank didn't retarget a different spot and you have to adjust to avoid dying to it, something else is going to see you, dead. In solo, that's back to orbit. With a team, what this is going to do is make Hunter a significantly more reserved playstyle. They won't be able to afford to go on a mad flank to remove something from the fight because they generally won't have a way back. Even watching the footage of this solo run from last week, I see instance after instance where an extra 7 seconds on my dodge cooldown is going to leave me with 2 options. Either I risk it for the biscuit by leaving cover and attempting to find an enemy to dodge next to, which in GM will surely result in death, or I hope nothing saw me come out of invis and wait for something in the area of a minute and a half for my smoke bomb to come off cooldown on its own, neither of which are desirable options. Now, what I think this means in the bigger picture is that Graviton Forfeit is getting shadow nerfed so hard that it won't seem viable anymore next to 6 Coyote and Omni Oculus. But even with either of those exotics, I think the end result of these nerfs in both solo and group play is downtime. In solo, you're going to take what space you can get to give your dodge or smoke bomb a little extra time to recharge before re-engaging. With a team, it potentially means saving all of your resources for small bursts of what makes Hunter fun to begin with, while simultaneously leaving things on the field longer that could very well kill your entire team. And when it still isn't enough and you lose the run anyway, it's going to be even more discouraging than it was before, both in terms of running Grandmaster and in terms of playing Hunter. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys are thinking about these changes. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more Destiny 2 content.